EB's Marathon, episode 13. We're back. So and every damn time we lose him right from the beginning, and then he'll come right back. Oh shit, that came back quick. All right, so what's going on since we last spoke on here? What's the latest update?
Graph versus host, kind of kicking my ass. Yeah, it's kind of I kind of got. I don't. It's not. I don't know how to explain it. It's not really a rash, but it's like my chest and back now and stomach are like really itchy, kind of red. But it's not. I don't know how to explain it. It's not really a rash though. So I had to see the dermatologist again today. That was an unexpected appointment. They scheduled it yesterday. When I went to see the doctor, and they got some new creams they want me to try, and they got me on a anti-itch pill, and so yeah, that kind of caught me by surprise. But the graft versus host is it's kind of messing with me a little bit. Had to get another skin biopsy, so that's like the third one. I had one where they kind of did it on my shoulder earlier, back in June. Then I had one on my leg. I don't even know if I ever even talked about it. I had a weird looking spot on my leg, and they were kind of on my shin, my right shin. They were kind of, worried about that. And they said they was going to do like a little scrape. And I'm thinking a little scrape, they just going to scrape a little skin or whatever. And they put a Band-Aid on it and told me to leave it on for 24 hours. When I took that Band-Aid off, boy, they took a chunk out my leg. So yesterday, the doctor looked at it, and the nurse practitioner actually, she kind of felt like it was getting infected because it's kind of like red and purple all around it. And I mean, it's literally one of them Bernie Mac type of wounds, where he talking about he'll bust your head to the white meat show.
Right.
That's what they did to my leg.
The white meat is
yeah,
showing.
white meat definitely showing down there. Yeah. And but the dermatologist today said she didn't really think that it was infected. She said that was just kind of like part of it healing. But anyway, they put me on antibiotics just in case, just to be safe. And I got, I think, a couple stitches in right below my chest, upper belly area on the right side, because they took another skin sample today. And they just want to confirm that it is, graft versus host or whatever, which I'm pretty sure it probably is. And that's about it. Tomorrow's the big day. Got a blood draw at 6:45 in the morning, and the bone marrow biopsy is at 8:15. And that bone marrow biopsy tomorrow should be completely leukemia free,
Right.
And if not, then we probably got a problem. We got a problem, and I'm not even really sure what the options would be at that point,
Right.
But I'm hoping I don't even have to deal with that, I'm hoping that they said everything is cool, it's all donor cells, and then we can go from there.
Because right now you are, what are you, 87 days out?
Day 87, yeah. And they moved that biopsy up 6 days because it was originally scheduled for next Thursday, I believe. And they moved it up to this Friday. And that's only because my platelets have been kind of, slowly but surely dropping. They went, like I said, I told you they were 38, and then they went up to 40, and then yesterday they were at 36. And so, like I said, they still aren't overly alarmed about that. But yeah, that bone marrow biopsy will really tell them what's going on,
Right.
So yeah, tomorrow's the biggie, because I'm ready to get up out of here. So I'm hoping everything goes well, 2 weeks from today, I think, are our last appointments. Yeah, like I said, they actually scheduled 3 on day 101. So we're hoping, like I said, 2 weeks from today on that, when I have that last appointment, we can get out of here and head on home. So,
Right.
we'll see.
Yeah. Um, I mean, you still obviously look good. You still doing the walks and everything as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. None of
yeah,
that's changed.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really feel. That's why I say I feel like I feel fine, So,
Right.
but until they do that bone marrow biopsy, they won't really and truly know what's going on. Appetite is still good, so all of that is fine.
Right.
So, yeah, tomorrow's definitely the biggie, and they'll probably have the results probably sometime early next week, I think.
Right. And with all of this, going on, and obviously this is part of the reason why we do these weekly updates is to check in. It's also to just kind of see where you're at and like what's your headspace right now. Like, where are you at, like
Um,
mentally?
I'm actually good. I mean, I'd be lying if, there wasn't a little bit of doubt in there, kind of wondering, just a little scared,
Right. Right.
because, there very well could be an opportunity or a chance where they say, we got this percentage of leukemia or we got this, but it really should be none. And that's kind of what John went through when
Right.
John did his final, bone marrow biopsy. He had like 20% return of leukemia, and he opted. And I don't even know if I would even have an opportunity for this, but they laid out like three things for him. Another bag of the donor cells was a choice. Chemo was another choice, and some kind of experimental treatment. And he chose the experimental treatment. So,
Right.
kind of seeing what he went through and seeing what I've been through is kind of eerily similar.
Yeah.
Because his platelets were up there, and mine were up at one point as high as maybe in the 140s, 150s, and then all of a sudden they kind of slowly started, they started dropping, and it really wasn't even slowly; they dropped like rapidly, and they've kind of like balanced out in this 35 to 45 range.
Right.
So it's not like they're really dropping a whole lot, but they aren't really climbing a whole lot either. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm good, man. I feel like everything's going to work out and it's going to be all right. And there's a lot of other reasons why those platelets could be dropping like that, because, the hemoglobin and everything else is doing well. Red blood count, white blood count, all of that is doing well. So, but yeah, I'd be lying if there wasn't like a little small part of me that's like, damn, what if they do find some leukemia cells or whatever. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm I'm really just ready to get out of here. I'm kind of irritable now.
Right.
I'm kind of losing patience with with the doctors, and yeah, because I'm like ready to go. I just want to go home.
Right.
This journey has been kind of exhausting. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
For those that are watching, John was the guy who was staying at the Gabriel House, who was
Yeah,
what 45 days ahead of
he was.
you.
Yep, 45 days ahead of me. Yep.
Yeah. So, um,
And
yeah.
he didn't have AML though. He had CLL. He had chronic. I can't even remember what it is. Chronic something leukemia, and I don't know what that middle
Right.
L was. But yeah, he definitely his treatment and everything that he underwent was like totally different than anything
Right.
that I was treated with. So we'll see. I'm not really like I said, I'm really not tripping on it. I think I'll be fine. I'm anticipating good news.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely a chance that they could say, well, we see this much leukemia and blah 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 blah. And at that point, like I said, I really right now I have no idea what my options would be, but I'm really not even trying to entertain those thoughts, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then, we get good news tomorrow. Would you have to wait out the rest of the days till you get to day 100
Yeah,
before
yeah,
you
they ain't gonna let me. Yeah, they ain't gonna let me
still
go
got to do
nowhere.
that?
Yeah, they ain't gonna
Yeah.
let me go nowhere.
Ain't no peeling out
Yeah, because
early.
I got a few appointments left. I got a couple next week. And actually, after Monday, they don't really have anything scheduled till August 4th. And like I say, that's the day that we hoping that we can get out of here. So, yeah.
And also, we have your birthday's coming up
Yeah, that's Monday.
Monday, 25th.
Yeah, I got 2 appointments on my
25th.
birthday. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Say, all I want for my birthday is some good ass news.
Yeah.
Shit.
No doubt. Yep.
Yeah. How? What are you going? You gonna be 56?
56. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
56. Yeah. That is a trip.
Yeah. Yeah. What? What? I don't know. Thinking back, like when you were younger, when you think of the age 56, like what would you envision or what would you imagine that you would, you know what I'm saying? Like
Bro.
skip all the health shit, just in life. Like what would you imagine or see as a 56-year-old Ercil?
Honestly, at least I'll go back to my early 20s. I ain't think that was attainable, honestly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I kind of had, if I can make it to 25, shit, I'm doing good, And that was kind of my outlook for a long time. And I hit 25, and then next thing you know, you're 26, you're 27, and it's like, shit, Honestly, I really didn't have any plans for so it's kind of really hard to say because I really didn't think I was going to make it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just the lifestyle I was living and the things that were going on around me and the people that were, getting shot, getting killed, going to prison for long ass sentences. And, you know, I just kind of felt like that was going to be me. That's what I was destined to do, destined for. And, and honestly, and I know this might sound kind of macabre or whatever, I was really kind of leaning towards death because I was like, shit, I don't want to be in nobody's prison for no 20.
Mute this. Hit the mute. You mute it.
Huh?
There
Oh,
you go.
yeah, let me go on
You
and
hit
act a
mute for a
fool
second.
out here and let's get it over with. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's just where my life was at the time. So
Right.
I don't know. 56 is a trip, man. 46 was a trip. 36, it was like, but it's weird though because I met y'all. I think I was like 26, about to turn. Or I was 25, about to turn. Oh yeah, no, 26, about to turn 27 that summer.
Right.
And I can honestly say that changed my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just being around y'all and and meeting your mom and yeah, made a world of difference to me. Getting out of Tulsa for damn sure. Yeah,
Right.
and that's kind of where it all turned around for me. You know what I'm saying? I ended up getting a job at Bagcraft. And that was the thing. People used to always ask me, what you gonna do with your life and this and that. And I didn't really have an answer, but I just felt like, one of these days I'm gonna find a decent job and, I'm gonna go to work and that's basically what happened. That's what Bagcraft kind of provided me at that time. It was a good job, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to go to work and, get hired on through the company and actually have some insurance and some benefits, you know what I'm saying? Stuff that I had never thought about. And yeah, you and Jordan, came into my life and it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like, man, I've had done so much wrong and whatever, and I felt like if I could put that energy into
You muted again. Your mic's muted. Or Can't hear you. Your mic. You hit mute again? I can't hear you. Hello?
Yeah.
There we go. The
Yeah.
sound
See,
cut out again.
we lost volume because I wasn't over the speaker at all.
Yeah. Sound cut out
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. But I was saying that, just, you and Jordan coming in my life and meeting your mom and all of that, it just kind of gave me an opportunity to take some of those negatives that I had been through and kind of like, expose y'all to it, let you see it, and then explain to you why you don't really want to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? And at
Right.
that time, that kind of, that gave me some purpose in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't let these kids here,
It cut out again. It cut out again. What the fuck? Hello?
Yeah.
Did you get a message or something? Is it like,
Somebody calling. I don't know who the hell it is.
oh,
That's
that's what it
probably
is.
what
So
it
when they're
is. Yeah.
calling, when they're calling, it's cutting out
Right.
completely.
Right.
Yeah. Um, I know we talked about it one week, and you said you'd save it for another day. Did you want to tell that story about your encounter with the police?
Yeah, man. I had to take you all the way back to October 30th, 1985. I had borrowed my friend Nate's car, going to go hoop, because that's all I wanted to do back then. I'm going to the gym, I'm going to hoop. And I think I was supposed to be picking his little brother up when I finished hooping that night, got done playing ball that night. Anyway, I exited the North Cincinnati exit in Tulsa, coming off the Broken Arrow Expressway. Looked in the rear view, saw police lights, a motorcycle cop with nobody on the motorcycle. And about the time I realized, he wasn't on the motorcycle, he was already at my window with his gun drawn, screaming at me, "Get out of the car! Get out of the car!" And hold on. And that's why I always kind of laugh at the, if you just comply, people, because at that moment, I don't know why he was so angry. I will never know why he was so angry, why he was upset, why he had his gun drawn. I'm looking down the barrel of his gun. He could have very easily just shot me right then and there. And my mind was pretty much made up pretty quickly. I'm not getting out this car. And so I drove off. Now, I knew when I drove off, I was like, oh, shit, this is escalated because he's going to be pissed that I drove off. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like high speed or anything. Matter of fact, I'm driving slow. I'm trying to figure out what was going on, why he pulled his gun on me like that. Why was he so upset? And so I actually rode into the neighborhood where the gym was at, where I was getting ready to go play ball, and kind of pulled over to the side of the road, cracked the window a little bit. And I just hollered out to him. I was like, "Hey man, what's up? Why you got your gun drawn on me? And what's going on?" And he was same thing. "Get out of the car." He was like in a rage at this point, And I knew, I was like, "Well, shit, this is not going to be good at all." And I felt like at that point, if I did get out of the car, I was going to get shot. Probably more than likely shot. That's what I felt like. Probably gonna get killed, and if nothing else, he was gonna cuff me and probably, beat the shit out of me or whatever. And so we're in this neighborhood. I'm hollering at him, and he's still saying the same thing. And I was like, I'm not getting out of this car. So I drove off again. So I know at this point, I really know, this shit is deep. I'm definitely going to die if this dude, catches me. And I was kind of riding slow again, still trying to figure out what I was going to do. And about that point, I hit some construction. And in Tulsa, I don't know if people have been to Tulsa or familiar with the University Center at Tulsa, which is downtown. They were building that at the time where you can take classes from all the state-funded Oklahoma schools in Tulsa without having to, live on campus or whatever. And I hit a dirt road. And when I hit that dirt road, I went into survival mode. You know what I'm saying? I'm 19 years old. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Why is this dude tripping like this? And that's when I sped up. And I hit about a good 65, 70, kicked up all kind of dust because it wasn't paved. Dust and dirt. And I slammed on the brakes. And of course, he ran right into the back of the car on his motorcycle, tumbled off of it. And as he was trying to get up, he pulled his gun. And like I said, I knew at that point I was going to be a dead man. So none of this really came out at the time because but yeah, I cut my wheel and I tried to run his ass over. And that's as honest as I can be. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, I'm in a kill or be killed situation. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted him to leave me the hell alone or find out why he was after me. But at that point, I knew it was beyond that. It was beyond any kind of conversation or me getting arrested. I was definitely going to get killed. That's the way I felt like at that point. And he dove out of the way. And when he dove out of the way, I sped up the road. And he fired, I think it was 3 shots at me. And, of course, none of them hit me. I didn't get wounded or anything. And I sped off. And at that point, I'm thinking, if I can just make it to Nate and have him report the car stolen. And of course, I hit a dead end. At that point, I hit a dead end. So I'm like, oh, man, I'm really screwed now. And I actually got out of the car, hopped out of the car and started running. And I was really in great shape back then. And so I ran from where the University Center at Tulsa is, which is basically almost downtown Tulsa, to like 51st and Harvard in Tulsa, which is probably a good 7, 8, 9 miles. I don't really know. I just know I was running, and I was trying to get to Nate's job. We both had jobs at this Mexican restaurant called El Chico in Tulsa at the time. I was trying to make it to El Chico so I could get to Nate and have him report the car stolen. And I ran all the way to El Chico and they said, oh, we let Nate go home an hour ago. I'm like, damn. It's like the plot just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, So then I run from there, 51st and Harvard in Tulsa, to 51st and damn near Memorial to the Villa Fontana. That's where he lived. And when I got over there, it was loaded with police. They had already made it over there. He had already told him I was driving the car. I'm like watching everything from a distance, and I was like, damn, So anyway, once all that cleared out, I talked to him. And of course, he told me that he had told him that I was driving the car. I called my parents and they came and got me. And I ended up turning myself in the next morning. And of course, the policeman's story was that we were in a high speed chase all the way from South Tulsa, all the way to North Tulsa. That was his story. And it was one of them situations, man. I went down there. My mom, when I turned myself in, my mom went with me, and they actually walked me through the station. And trust me, I had been in jail several times, by that point, and they had never walked anybody through the station. They had walked me through the station because they wanted all the other cops, to be able to see who I was. You know what I'm saying? And if I had went down there and just turned myself in by myself, they probably would have beat the mess out of me. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they probably would have, because they were calling me all kind of names and this and that. And I didn't say nothing, but my mom was talking cold cash shit back. It was really kind of amusing to me. It was really kind of funny to me. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't funny because I knew, and they booked me. fingerprint me, all of that, and they released me to my mom. And I know for a fact, if I'd have spent any time in that jail without my mom being down there, man, ain't no telling what would have happened. They might would have said I hung myself in a cell or something like that, because you're dealing with the police, you know what I'm saying? And when something like that goes down where you've in their mind committed violence against them, we all ain't no secrets. We know what happens to people then when they do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If nothing else, they would have I feel like they would have beat the shit out of me, But I honestly kind of feel like they might even have killed me in the cell. I really don't, I don't know that, but that's the way I felt. So anyway, I was released, and even then I didn't realize how serious it was till they started talking about 10 years in prison, assault with a deadly weapon against a police officer. The car was the deadly weapon. And yeah, and that's when I realized, oh my God, this shit here is serious. And, we've talked about this many times. I didn't really have anything going on in my life at that time. And me and my dad, we weren't really on the best of terms. He really had no reason to try to help me out in that situation other than the fact then that I was his son or whatever. And his boss hooked him up with an attorney, and he paid for it. And I met him the day of the preliminary hearing, like 20 minutes before the preliminary hearing. And his exact words is,
You met the attorney.
yeah,
You met
the attorney. Yeah, his
right
name
before.
was J. Patrick Thompson.
Right.
I didn't know anything about him. He tells me, you're not going to say a word, because I think he knew, I was kind of young, kind of hot-headed, You're not going to say a word when we go in this courtroom. Let me handle this. And when we walked in the courtroom, Kellen, I've told you many a times, I knew I was good to a certain extent because the looks from the prosecution, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like any defendant, but black defendants in this country, they deserve to be able to have some representation like that. Because when I walked in that courtroom, I'm telling you, the judge, the prosecutors, they were shook. I could tell they were shook. They were looking like, oh shit, And that's when I knew that this dude had some clout. I was like, this dude here, because just the way they were looking, and
Right.
and basically, he put all kind of holes in their case. He was drawing little stick figures and drawing the cars, and like this is like a 60% angle. There's no way he could have cut his wheels like this. And I'm telling you, Kelly, he was defending me so well. I was sitting there in the courtroom in my mind, and I'm like, oh, I did that shit. You know what I'm saying? But he was defending it, and he was putting so many holes in their case. It was almost kind of like, he had me believing I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? And so I know from a prosecution standpoint, they were like, well, shit, he just put a bunch of holes in our case, And ultimately what ended up happening is that was the only time he ever defended me. We didn't have any more money. I don't think they didn't know that. But I think they thought if we go to trial and he comes to a trial with this attorney, not knowing that was it. My dad had spent whatever he had pretty much for that preliminary hearing. But like I said, he put so many holes in their case. And, the whole chasing me across the city of Tulsa, from south to north, that was just bullshit, But that was the story that he told,
Right.
And a couple of weeks later, they offered a plea deal, They went from me getting 10 years in prison all the way down to 18 months probation. And that's when yeah, he put some holes. He had them shook. He had them thinking there's no way we're going to be able to get a conviction here if we go to trial, not knowing that, we wasn't going to trial. We didn't have no money to pay that man to defend me in the trial. And they said, 18 months probation, plead no contest. So I was like, cool, I'll do that. And then another tactic that I'm sure that still goes on today that I found out the hard way. When I went down there to sign the plea deal, when I got down there, I went by myself. There was nobody else with me. The lawyer wasn't with me. Wasn't no cell phones back in 1985. So when I got down there, the first thing they tell me is, "Oh, there's been a change." And that's when I knew it was going to be some bullshit. I was like, "Oh, here we go," And I'm thinking, I wonder what the change is. And so then they take me in the judge's chambers. I got like 5 Tulsa County sheriffs in there. I got like 5 Tulsa policemen in there, and they all standing behind me. So like I'm sitting in this chair right now. They were like lined up behind me where I couldn't really see what they was doing because I'm having to talk to the judge. And he's like, we're going to need you to plead guilty. You'll still get the 18 months probation, but we're going to need you to plead guilty. And I'm thinking to myself, I probably could say no, but I might get my ass whooped right here in the judge's chambers. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just us in there. There wasn't anybody on my side at all. Because like I said, I went down there by myself. I'm like, who do I call? And it's
you're
like,
19 years
yeah.
old.
So I'm sure they still do that tactic. You know what I'm saying? They tell you one deal, and then when you get down there, it changes. And so, long story short, I ended up signing it, and that guilty plea, which was supposed to be no contest. That pretty much was their way of getting any kind of get back they thought they could get, because they thought,
Right.
they thought, 10-year maximum, he gonna get a good 6-7 years in prison. I'm sure that's what they thought, when this whole thing started.
Right.
And when I came in with that attorney and he busted that little case up, they they went to the 18 months. So I'm sure somewhere along the way, there probably was some conversations had, and they were like, yeah, let's get him down here and make him plead guilty. And so, of course, I signed it. I probably shouldn't have signed it, but it was the intimidation factor. I'm sure that's what they were going for. Let's put let's get 8 to 10 law enforcement in here and line them up against the wall. And yeah, he don't want to take this deal. Okay. That's, I'm not,
you're
I'm
19 years
old. I ain't
old.
know no better.
You're 19
Yeah,
years
and that's
old
what
and
they
don't know
do
any
to
better.
young black males is, they get them in there. They do the intimidation tactics, change things up like that. I'm sure it still happens. I'm sure it happens all the damn time now, and
Right.
but yeah, that felony conviction, it really kind of screwed my life up. I didn't really understand the importance of that because of no contest. You're not saying you're guilty. You're not saying you're innocent. But that guilty plea, yeah, it really just kind of screwed me up. And that's kind of the story. And that's why I kind of laugh when people say you should just comply. Because I'm pretty sure if I had gotten out of that car that night, I was probably going to get shot, I was probably going to get shot.
Right.
And if nothing else, like I say, I was going to get cuffed and they was going to beat the brakes off of me. You know what I'm saying? And then say I resisted arrest. And once I drove off, like I say, I knew that I was in some deep doo-doo. I just kind of knew, And that's where I say, even at 19, it was kind of like the survivor in me came out. I felt like I had to do whatever it was that I had to do to try to survive that night. And by surviving that night, I probably saved my life. I probably would have been, I'm pretty sure I probably would have been dead that night, And when he fired at me,
Absolutely.
I could have easily been dead, So.
Right. I feel like the most important piece coming from this, though, is not only that this happened to you at 19 years old, right? And then, at that time you said you'd had some troubles, you'd had your issues or whatever, but then you go on later on, you come into mine and Jordan's life, right? And not only were you the male presence in our life, like you were a great father, and a great role model, and grew up to be one of the most selfless and just, I don't know. It's funny because I remember by the time we'd met you and hearing these stories and hearing you
Hmm.
tell these stories and stuff, and I'm just like, I mean, yeah, I can see, I can see you being a hothead, all that, because when you get
Yeah.
fired up, you get fired up. But, just you being like troublesome or, problematic and things, like we didn't see that because we got the
Right.
love, we got the support, we got the things that we needed, you know? And so I think for me, that's what I always, when I see these young people that get killed by police officers and people say, well, they should have complied
Hmm.
or whatever, right? I think about your story because, like you said, we've
Yeah.
talked about it numerous times, and I think about it like had you played it any
Yeah.
differently, right? You
Nah, we
we
wouldn't.
wouldn't have
Yeah,
ever
yeah, we
known you.
wouldn't be having this
The
interview right now.
course
Yeah,
of our
yeah,
history would have been
yeah.
yeah,
And
there would have
that
been
me
none of
not
that.
making it to 25 would have came true, and it would have been at the hands of the police because honestly, at that time I wasn't thinking I was gonna die at the hands of the police. I just kind of felt like I was gonna die out there on them streets. And
Right,
it was weird because that's kind of what I was thinking when all of this was going on. I was like, man, I feel like I might go young, but I don't want to die in these Tulsa streets at the hands of a policeman. That's kind of like what was going through my mind. And I think that's where
right,
the kind of like the survival tactics just kicked in. Because honestly, like, I can't even begin to answer, what made me think to speed up on that dirt road, and kick up all that dust.
right,
That's like some shit,
right,
some real hardened criminals probably would think of, but that was the first thing popped in my head. I was like, I'd say I'm in deep shit now. And the only way I'm gonna get out of this is to be able to get away from this dude because if I get caught right now, it's a wrap. And I just honestly felt that way. I felt like it was a wrap. And like I said, it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to hurt him. I just wanted to get away. And if I could get away, then maybe we could
right.
sort through this or whatever. And honestly, that's really what ended up happening. You know what I'm saying? And I've always given my dad
Yeah,
props, because me and him, like I say, we butted heads. We didn't always get along, but he stepped up in a big way by getting that lawyer. And I didn't realize it at the time.
right,
But like I said, when I walked in that courtroom and the looks on that prosecution's face, if I'd have gone in there with a public pretender, as they call them, oh man, they would have ate me alive. I
right,
know they would have. They would have ate me alive. I wouldn't have had no shot. But when I went in with that J. Patrick Thompson, like I say, I don't know. I don't even really know what his history was, what his claim to fame was, or whatever. But he obviously had some clout because, and like I say, it's one of those things I wish for black defendants in this country. You know, besides people that got money, I ain't talking about OJ or people like that. Just regular
yeah,
black people who have been framed or put in situations, accused of things that they didn't do, or whatever the case may be, to be able to walk in a courtroom like that and just to be able to see the looks on the prosecution's face and realize that, oh shit, this dude that came in, he done came in with the heavy artillery, and he did. He just, 4 or 5 hours, I think that hearing lasted, and he just was just poking all kind of holes and speculation and hearsay, like evidence and everything. It was like I don't know how to explain it, man. I was amazed. I was blown away. And I was glad that he was on my
right.
side. And like I said, some of the stuff that he poked holes in actually happened. Like I said, I'm sitting in the courtroom thinking, well, shit, I did that. But shit, he described it the way he described it. Maybe I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? He had me. It was kind of like he had me thinking, well, shit, maybe I didn't do that. He right. Yeah, yeah. That's not the way it went down, but it was the way that it went down. And it was just a thing of beauty, man. And it was like that was the day that I realized that, yeah, when they talk about top notch lawyers and stuff, yeah. And like I say, I give a lot of credit to my pops because he did not have to do that. He did not have to come out of pocket for any of that. But if he didn't, yeah, I probably would be, a ex-con right now, and who knows where my life would have went, you know? Because at 19, you put me in a prison situation at 19, even if it's just half of those 10 years, I'm probably gonna come out worse than I ever was before I went in. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said,
Right.
maybe I do meet y'all after something like that. But I can pretty much say that if something like that happened, it probably wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been the same result. You know, it wouldn't have came out the way it came out. You know, so
Right.
yeah, I probably would have ruined
Well, how
y'all.
could it
You
be?
know,
Because you go into a situation. Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, you go into a situation like that. No matter what you are, who you are, what your temperament is, whatever. Well, you go
yeah,
to a prison. Well, the
right,
rules are
right,
different there, right? So you do
right,
have to adjust and you do have to adapt, and it does become
yeah,
survival mode every day. So you take all these kids that they put in for nonviolent crimes and they put them in these state prisons with
yeah,
rapists and
yeah,
murderers
yeah,
and all kinds of shit, and you take these nonviolent offenders who now become violent because guess what? They
yeah,
have to protect
yeah.
themselves daily.
And I was already
You
kind of
know?
attracted. Them was, some of them hardened people, that's kind of the people that I looked up to, even on the street, you're like, shit, I want to be like him. I want to hang out with him. I
Right.
want to be a part of, his crew or whatever. So yeah, you put me in there at 19 and ain't no telling what would have happened. And that's why I say I feel like I met y'all
Right.
at the right time because honestly, you know, I get a lot of props or whatever for raising y'all doing this, but honestly, y'all saved my life. You know what I'm saying? In a weird way, it was like y'all saved my life because y'all at that point it was kind of like shit. I got to get my ass up. I got to go to work. Your mom was kind of counting on me. You know what I'm saying? And it helped me grow up. Helped me grow up real quick. You know?
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't realize
Yeah,
you were that young whenever you came around in our life. I was thinking you were like
yeah. I came to
early
Joplin like
30s or something,
December of
But
like '92. Shit, I think I met your mom and it was probably January, February of '93. You know,
uh,
yeah, and
free.
yeah, like I said, by May, I told the story about how I had the little job that was seasonal, and they laid me off.
Yeah.
And your mom came to me,
Yep.
she basically came to me with a deal. She was like, "Well, shit, how about you not worry about getting the job, to the end till school starts, and you can stay home, keep an eye on Kellen and Jordan. I won't have to spend the money on daycare. Financially, it works for us, at that time. Like I said, and shit, I was like, what? You mean I ain't I ain't gotta go work I ain't gotta go look for a job till late August? Shit.
Right.
I was like, yeah, count me in. Shit, I'll keep an eye on them. But it's just kind of weird how things work out. And yeah, and actually in September,
Yeah.
it's funny because the temp agency I got the job at Badcraft through a temp agency. They actually sent me to Hobby Lobby. Is that still in Joplin over there on 7th and Range
I think
Line?
so.
I think where Ryan's is up in the little plaza where
Uh
Ryan's is, or where Ryan's. I don't
Ryan's,
even know if Ryan's is
oh
still
shit.
there.
Is this Ryan's used no,
I
Ryan's is
don't know
not
if the
there
Hobby
anymore.
Lobby is even still up in
Uh
there, but it was up in there where Toys R Us used to be. Yeah, yeah. So I went in there and worked
yep,
for
yep.
like a couple of weeks, and this was before it was Hobby Lobby. I don't know what it was, and they tore down the walls and everything, and eventually became Hobby Lobby, I think. And I worked it for like a couple of weeks, and then of course that job was over with. And they called me one day. It's like, we got a job we think will be real good for you. Might have some potential. And of course, it was Badcraft, and that was when they were still over in Joplin on Main Street. Yep, yep. And I
Main
went to
Street,
work
yeah.
over there, and shit, the rest was history. You know what I'm saying? Is it?
Like I
Yeah.
said, Hobby Lobby
Yeah.
is
So I
still there.
helped tear down. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't tear
Yeah.
down nothing. They were. I was kind of like the tool man. They was like, bring me this hammer, bring me this, bring me that. That's basically all I did. But it was cool. The little crew I was working with was cool. Everybody treated me well. But like I said, it was only like a week and a half, 2 weeks. They basically just demolished the inside, and that was their job. Their job was like to just demolish the inside, and then they had the people coming in that was going to do the inside the way they wanted it to be done. So yeah, they were knocking down walls and
Right.
and stuff like that. And then, like I said, after that, they hooked me up with Badcraft. So yeah, I
And
worked
then you were
there
there for
about
how long?
18 and a half years. And Badcraft was cool, man. I enjoyed Badcraft, but towards the end, man, they got out of control. They got a new owner, and it went from Badcraft was always 24/7. That was one of the things I liked about it. We used to work like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every other Saturday. I used to enjoy having them days off. And they got a new owner. He came in, wanted to be 24/5, and all the people that worked there were trying to tell him, "Look, bro, this is not going to work." And because we had to one shift had to tear down the machines on Friday, and then we had to go in on Sunday night, my shift, and get them started back up. Well, once you shut down them printing presses like that, you can't just go in there and just fire them up like they're a car or something like that. It would take hours and hours. Sometimes it would take the whole shift or maybe even half of the next shift before they finally got the machine up and running good again. So the 24/7 thing was perfect. The machines used to hum, and we basically used to just run them till they broke down. I mean, that sounds crazy, but you run them till they break down, and somebody would come out and work on them. And yeah, so within 2 to 3 weeks, we had already fallen behind on production because we were shutting down every weekend. And so what used to be, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every other Saturday was like, for me, was Sunday night through Thursday night. And then all of a sudden they wanted you to start coming in on Friday night. And then next thing you know, they want you coming in on, Sunday. So it's like we went back to damn near working 6-7 days a week anyway. And then a lot of people quit when they did that. And then next thing you know, it was like, well, you know what? These little smaller machines that they had at Badcraft, if they can run one, they can run two. I went from running one machine to two machines to three. And that pay stayed the same. And that's when I started with like, hold up, man, this ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? This ain't going to work. Yeah. So I had to get up out of there. And it's funny because I was talking to Darnell last night. Darnell had been with Rent-A-Center for 20 years. And he got like his own little trucking company now. And he said he'd been doing that for 3 years. But it's funny how you work these jobs, man, for all these years, and it's kind of like thanks for nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it kind of comes to an end. It's kind of like thanks for nothing. And you end up being so much happier, when you move on or whatever. And that's kind of how I was.
I think we talked in the last couple of weeks. We were talking about just the younger generations and the way the generations
Yeah.
before them, right? How they shit on them, and I think that's one thing millennials like learn from like your generation, and Gen Z's learning from our y'all's
Right.
generation
Whether
used
you
to
were
stay with the
happy or
company
not,
forever,
whether you were happy or
right?
not, yeah,
And then
you
now
just tough it out. Yeah.
motherfuckers be miserable.
Yeah.
It was like a bad marriage. Motherfuckers be miserable and stay
Yeah.
with a company for 20, 30, 40 years. And then, like you said, all that thanks for nothing. And now these younger generations, they've watched that and they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be fucking miserable
Yeah.
for 30 years of my life and stay with this company. So they'll stay with the company 3-4 years maybe and then
Yeah, they
move
be
on to the one
bouncing.
that's paying
Yeah.
them more, And I mean, you see that
Yep.
you see that in real
Yep.
life. You see that in sports, right? Like athletes anymore, they don't stay with a team their whole life
Yeah.
anymore. They realize it's a business, and these
Yep.
dudes will get rid of us at any minute. So why the fuck are we going to pledge our loyalty to them when
Yep.
they're not going to do the same for us? So again, I think that's one of those things where older generations like to shit on the younger people for, but I think it's one of those things where I think that the younger people, they do have it right. They do realize, like, you know what, if it's just business, then I need to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
And if it's moving on to the next company every 3 or 4 years,
right,
so be it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we talked earlier.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at now. It's like, I don't know when I'll get back into the workforce, or if I'll get back in. At this point, it's all up in the air. But my job let me go earlier this week, and I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? I knew they probably couldn't keep me on the payroll that long, and it wasn't even that I was on the payroll. I was just trying to keep it for the insurance. And then once I found out that I could transfer over to Melody's insurance with no penalty or no problems. My HR lady told me, a lifestyle change, change a lifestyle or lifestyle change or whatever. Said they automatically had to put me on Melanie's insurance. And I was a little skeptical, but she was right. Melanie contacted the HR lady at her job, Volusia County Schools, and it was pretty much as smooth as my HR lady said it was, so that was my biggest concern was the insurance,
Right.
So, yeah, man, it's like I'm sitting here now and I'm not even really tripping because it's a long way down the road, but I'll probably be doing something different. I probably can go back, and I'm sure they probably would rehire me or whatever, but I'm not really sure if that's even the path that I want to take. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
yeah, I might, who knows, who knows? I'm open to anything, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, right now the main thing is getting myself back to myself, and I got time, I ain't got nothing but time, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not really gonna be able to do a whole lot shit till next spring, So I kind of got to lay low, be careful where I go. Once you hit the 4-5 month mark, you can kind of get out a little bit, but you have to be careful where you're going. You know what I'm saying? They say, if you want to go out to eat, go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when there aren't that many people in the restaurant or whatever. So basically, it's one of them situations where I just kind of have to keep my distance from people, But I can do a little bit. But for the most part, I'll probably be chilling,
Probably a good thing right now. I mean, COVID is popping up everywhere, all over again. And again, it's not like it was, right? It's not the Delta variant type shit. So you're not hearing about a lot of deaths and things, but it's still one of those. It is easy as hell to catch it, So it's probably best with your immune system where it's at to just chill.
And as I get deeper into the recovery, you know what I'm saying?
But
I can do a little bit more. But before I just go full on crazy, it's probably gonna be, April 25th of 2023 will be a year, and at that point, hopefully I'll get the clearance and be able to, kind of get back to what my normal life kind of looked like before all this started,
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that story, because I know, I've heard this story. We've talked about it several times throughout over the years.
I made the newspaper.
But I think that's a good one just because
or my mom still has a newspaper article, actually. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. You have a plethora of stories and experiences that I think a lot of people could hear and learn something from it, and just life experience that's very valuable. And again, hearing those stories when I was young, I know how impactful it was on me. It made me think about things and my decisions and whatnot, and I think, again, that goes back to what you were saying about you giving us a piece of that.
Right.
So we didn't have to go through that shit, so we didn't make those decisions, and that definitely played a huge part in Jordan and I's upbringing, for damn sure. So thank you again for sharing that. But
No, I'm just
Got
kind of
any final
chuckling a little
words,
bit
anything you
because I
want to
told you I
say?
was talking to Darnell last night, and he was talking about our homeboy James. Yeah, he all muscled. He about 5'2", 5'3". He all muscled up, and it said that they call him Big Swole. And I was telling him about when you used to come home in the summers from Grambling. They used to call you Shorty Swole.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and
Shorty
it's
Swole.
funny because I used to worry about you. I'd be like, man, this dude been at Grambling now, 2, 3 years or however long. Used to come home in the summer,
Yeah.
and I used to hear them stories about you
Yeah.
knocking people out. And I ain't gonna lie, I used to be worried about you. I'd be like, man, this big dude here. I said, one of these days I did. And I told him
Little
I
big
did. I
dude.
used to be so concerned about you when you came home in the summers. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like Grambling them brought the
Yeah.
dog out in this dude. You know what I'm saying? You already didn't take no shit from nobody. And some of them stories you used to tell me about Grambling, I used to listen to, and oh man, when you used to come home in the summer, I'd be like, Lord, just let
Oof.
Kellen make it through the summer, man, so he can get back to Grambling. And that's crazy when you think about it, because Grambling was way worse probably than Joplin ever could have thought about being, even though it was a college campus. So
Yeah, there was, yes, a lot of
yeah,
shit that
yeah, but I
occurred.
was just kind of chuckling because I told Darnell, I said, yeah,
A
they used to
lot of
call Kellen Shorty Swole. And the first time I heard that, I was like, Shorty Swole. I'd be like, boy, that is not a good nickname to have. I said, that sounds like something right
he
out
said, "What
of
the hell
Boys
you
in the
do to earn
Hood,
that
South
nickname?"
Central, or one of the movies, Menace to Society. Shorty Swole. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've ever told you that, but
Oh.
man, I did. I used to worry about you when you came home in the summers.
Yeah. You. What's funny is you had never told me that to this
Hmm.
last trip when Jordan and I came out
Hmm.
there in December. We were talking, and me, you, Melanie, and Jordan were talking, and that was the first time
Yeah.
I heard my mom say that.
Yeah,
She
we
always
did.
like, "Oh,
Yeah,
anytime
yeah.
you go out," and I
Yeah.
knew,
I had never really
you weren't.
admitted it, but yeah, I used
Yeah,
to.
and
Woo,
so I'd heard my.
I'd be like, man, I can't wait till he go back to Grambling.
Uh, it's funny too because everybody
Hmm.
knows you, right,
Hmm.
at different stages in your life. So there's a lot of people that they didn't know me college or before. They just knew me from like military time or
Hmm.
out here in Oregon or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So they seen a different version of you, right? Like you mature. You like. I realize I can't punch everybody
Yeah,
in the face every time they disrespect me, or what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like you learn. You just grow up. And again, I the household we come from, y'all, there was never,
yeah,
we didn't, y'all weren't violent,
yeah.
y'all didn't beat us, we didn't have nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't grow up any fucked up shit, but what we had was going to
Right.
school and being the only black kids at our school,
Hmm.
constantly
Hmm.
getting called out of our name. you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that's where my rage was from. That's where my anger stemmed from. It wasn't no shit from home.
Right.
We got all the love and support and shit that we needed from home. It was going to that school, and then you're constantly, you're getting treated
Yeah.
away or getting, disrespected, and nobody else is standing up for you. None of your white friends don't really give
Right.
too much of a shit that they just called you a nigger. So you always having to defend yourself, and that.
Total
Yeah, and
opposite.
then like you said,
Yeah.
going to Grambling, and when I went there, it was I went from I went from being in an all white environment and the only black person to going and being in an all black environment, and then they be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you talk like a white boy, you this and this and this, right?"
Right. Right.
So then there, I'm having to prove myself,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm not getting disrespected here either,
Yeah. You,
and yeah, it was a trip, and then yeah, obviously you go back to
yeah. You
Joplin and
you
you
de-
really like,
you
yeah,
definitely was yeah,
this ain't
you
going down
whew.
like that.
I mean, I think it was Joey Hill was the first person I heard say Shorty Swole. And I looked, I like Shorty Swole. Hey, yeah, and you definitely was swole. He wasn't lying now. But yeah, I think that was the first time I heard that. I was like, Shorty swole. I was like, oh man. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good nickname to have or not.
I think it was Julius.
And then it was many nights, because I work them nights at Badcraft. I come home, they'd be like, well, shit, Kellen to knock so and so out.
Yeah.
Damn. Down goes another one. Yeah. No, but
You weren't
he
with us
called
tonight
me.
with Uncle Philip.
He called me. I had a message on my phone. He's like, Ercil. He's like, Kellen hit this man so hard, I think he done killed him. Yeah. And then when I actually heard the story, of course, it was funny as hell. But
wow.
Yeah, them summers, boy. I'd be like, man, the sooner we can get this dude back to Grambling.
Yeah. I'm only, and listen, I'm laughing about this shit because literally reminiscing on it and thinking back to just being young and just so full of fuck it. Don't play me. You know what I'm saying? Don't disrespect me. Don't mess with anybody I love or care for, but
right.
I never started shit. I never started it. But, but not, I'm just thankful too. I'm thankful too that shit is behind me. Cause that was the thing too. I never did anything else to get myself in trouble. Right. But it was that could have been the one thing. It could have easily been an assault charge, and they don't give a shit that this person did something to you first. All they saw was the aftermath, and I would have been in trouble, Holy shit. I feel like I've lived 4 or 5 lives. I know you probably feel the exact same. You've lived a few different lives, right? Yeah. It's a trip. So, anyway, always appreciate these conversations, especially, like I said, we got to, we're going to keep this thing going, even once you're out of the Gabriel House.
I ain't going to have nothing but time.
Check in and shit, Exactly. So we'll always make time for this and definitely have time for more stories. Cause like I said, you have a lot of stories that, as long as you're comfortable with sharing them, I think they should definitely be told because number one, they're great stories in which you can learn from them. And two, you're also a great storyteller because you memorize or remember so much shit. There's a lot of stuff that I'm obviously much younger and there's a lot of shit. I can't remember all the intricate details of it. But I can give you the gist of it.
I can vividly remember
so many
stuff
things
that happened
always been like that.
35, 40 years ago, whatever, Like I said, it's the stuff that happened 15 minutes ago that I struggle with.
Well, shit. I'll let you get on out of here.
Much love to everybody.
Thank you for your time, and good luck tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be checking in with you tomorrow. I want to,
like I say, they'll probably more than likely they'll probably have results early next week. But you can definitely check on me. I'll probably be good and numb. That's one thing about the bone marrow biopsy; they don't play with the anesthesia. So it might be 12 hours later for that thing even come back to life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, everybody that's listening or watching, please send Ercil all of your, thoughts and prayers and love and support at this time and going further.
Love you too.
So, well, I love you, and we'll talk again later.